So the Foch B, should you grind it? Is the line worth it? And is the tank at the end of it worth it? That is the aim of this video. Should you grind the Foch B? Now, first things first, I'm going to talk about the Foch B. Is it worth it once you get to the tier 10? Yes and no. The thing is with the Foch B, it's really, really different from other autoloaders. It doesn't have that kind of mobility and flexibility of other autoloaders such as like the 50B. And yes, I know the 50B isn't a tank destroyer, but it's got to make comparisons to something. And the closest thing that would be to the Foch B is the WT 100, at least while that was still in the game. You get 400 alpha damage with a 6-shell autoloader that each has 2-second interclip, meaning that in 10 seconds you can pump out 2,400 average damage. Now that sounds insane, but the gun can be very, very derpy sometimes, and you have no turret at all. So that then means that you can't really snipe with it, although you can, don't get me wrong. You could go to the back of the map and snipe. You do have 6 shells after all, and at least maybe 1 or 2 of them are going to hit. You can't really go into Brawl because you don't have any armor. I mean, yes, it does have armor, but it has a massive, massive weak spot on top of the tank, which means that you have to try and play this tank very, very differently to other tanks. You have to play this as like a medium kind of range tank or just as a pure ambush tank. And what I mean by that is you could go into the city with your heavies and just when the time presents itself, you come around that corner, you pump out your damage and then evacuate that area very, very quickly. So the tank's definitely not for everyone. If that sounds like a tank for you, then yes, like the Foch at tier 10, very much worth it. But if that sounds like not really your type of style, then it's probably not worth it. When we take a look at the tech tree line, the Foch at tier 9 is going to play exactly the same as the Foch B. The only difference is that you get a 4-shot autoloader with 2.4 seconds interclip reload, whereas obviously the Foch B at tier 10 gets that 6-shot autoloader with 2 seconds interclip. And if you go all the way down to the tier 8, the exact same thing applies, where it will be now a 3-shot autoloader with 2.7 seconds interclip. So yes, the Foch B is definitely an upgrade from the tier 9 and the Foch from the tier 8. So each one of these, you are getting a substantial upgrade in the tank. It's not like it's kind of like, it's a little bit of an upgrade. It's definitely a good upgrade as you progress through the line. So there definitely is scalability with how the tank performs. Speaking about the tier 7 is kind of a little bit weird. When we go down to the tier 7, you are not getting an autoloader. However, you do get very, very nice 232 standard pen with 300 alpha. And although the tank is horrible, horrible, horrible to play with, at least the gun's okay. The reason why this tank is horrible to play with is because look how big it is with that cupola. But this is only tier 7, so you're not going to be investing too much of your time into this tier, so it's more than manageable to just get through it. Now, the tier 6 is a very, very weird tank, and it's very, very weird, one, because the tank is awful, okay? Like, the tank is absolutely useless, but the gun, especially if you like only load the number 2 key on the 105mm gun, you get more pen and more alpha. I don't know why, but that's how it is. So not only are you getting APCR as your premium round where the shells are going to go faster, you will get more pen, more alpha, and more DPM. Meaning that even if you just loaded this out with just standard equipment, food consumable, and you're firing gold, you get 2.6k DPM at tier 6 with very, very nice pen. That is very good indeed. Now at tier 5, this tank is a little bit weird because, I mean, it's called the bathtub for a reason. I mean, look at it. It literally looks like a bathtub. But the gun selection, you could either go and use a 240 alpha damage gun with more DPM. It's got worse dispersion, worse aim time, but it has more alpha. You could go and use the 150 alpha damage gun and you have 239mm of premium pen. I don't know why. Okay, that's a massive difference, especially at tier 5. That means at tier 5, you can basically pen whatever you want. Even if you meet tier 7s, you could pen whatever you want with 239 pen. You meet an Oni, no problem. Just go straight through it. So it's probably worth to not even use the upgraded gun. Like, as weird as it sounds. And obviously below tier 5, it's just going to be just progressing through them. Some of them are going to be nice, like the Sal 40. It's not a bad tank. You do get a nice little derp gun if you would like to use it. But most of the time, it's going to take you, what, like a few hours or so to get to tier 5. So I wouldn't really worry too much if you're just completely try-harding and just playing like non-stop. Honestly, the low tiers aren't really a problem. So to recap, the tier 4, okay, whatever, you're going to go through it. It'll be fine. Tier 5, yep, it's got an amazing gun. A tier 6, amazing gun, absolutely horrible platform. Like, completely horrible. It has like no gun arc at all. So you're going to struggle with that. Some of you will make it work, but most of you are going to struggle with it. Tier 7, the exact same thing is going to kind of apply here. The actual like profile of the tank and platform is not nice, but at least the gun is okay. The tier 8 is just a baby Foch, and then you get the Foch at tier 9, which is just a baby Foch B, and then you get the Foch B. From tier 8 onwards, it teaches you how you should kind of, or at least you learn how to play the tank. It definitely doesn't teach you how to play it. You will learn eventually like what works and what doesn't, and to be honest, whatever works at tier 8 is going to work on the tier 9 and the tier 10. So let's now speak about equipment. So for the Foch B, and the tier 8, honestly, all the same. Because you have an autoloader, obviously you can't use a rammer. You're going to be using HP turbo and vents. You don't need to have IRM. You could put it in there if you want to, but you get the HP because with the field mod, it's especially important because nothing can track you basically, at least not in the first shot. And then you repair your tracks to full health and you go forwards, especially when you learn about how to play this tank and you go into those medium kind of range environments. Not being tracked in the first shot is crucial because if you get perma-tracked in this thing, you are dead. You get turbo because you need to move around, especially helping you out in that reverse speed where the Foch B will actually go at -18 backwards, which is very, very nice. I do have the field mods, which we'll move on to in a second. And then vents, just to boost everything else. Now for the crew, it's going to be exactly the same as every other tank where you want to get your brothers in arms, you want to get repairs. Camo, you could go with camo, although the way that I play the Foch and this line, camo isn't going to help me out. But one thing that really does help me out is having Deadeye, because for whatever reason, in this new update, there has been so many ammo racks and just, I am almost convinced they have done something to the back end that has increased the chance of module damage. And it's not because of like vents being a thing or like, you know, changing that, because even with tanks that I'm not running vents on, I'm still ammo racking people and setting people on fire a hell of a lot more since the update of the crew, where everything got changed to perks instead of skills. I have ammo racked and set people on fire so often. I don't know what's going on. Just putting Deadeye on this has just improved it even more. And no, nothing statistically changed with Deadeye. For the ammo loadout, the thing is with the Foch, most of the time you just want to do that, right? Because you have a 34-second reload. It's going to take you a while to get that reload done, and you just don't want to be using AP. Like, the premium rounds are so much better in every single way. It's just not worth to use the AP rounds. I mean, I'll use it just to, you know, show it. But if you're actually playing this tank, it's going to be an expensive tank to play. Like 257 on a tier 10 tank destroyer is not a lot. Even this at 325 APCR is not a lot. It's just how it is now in World of Tanks. I take a clip of HE just because this tank gets an insanely like large amount of shells. I have hardly ever used HE in this tank. Now for the field mods on the Foch B, it is pretty simple. For the first one, you want to take the left-hand side because it will give you better train distances and more track health, meaning that your HP boost is even more effective, which is why I said that in conjunction with field mods, the HP boost works really, really well. For number 4, you want to take the improved aiming, which is going to give you -3% to aim circle size. For number 5, you want to give yourself some free view range because the actual concealment after firing is completely useless. It is not -6% or +6% like you would think. It doesn't just boost it by 6%. It boosts it by 6% of whatever value you already have. So for example, if we go ahead and look down at concealment rating, you'll see it's on 3% when it's stationary. If we were to choose it, it's going to go to 3.4%. It's not +6 like some people think. So always give yourself free view range because it's nice. Now for number 7, I'd like to choose the left-hand side because I think that it's kind of a no-brainer. But some people would like to choose the reload time. I don't see how you could play this tank without number 7. Because number 7 improves this tank so much. It makes sure that after firing and your intra-clip reload, so say you fire once and it blooms out, it's going to reduce the amount of blooming out by 15%. Not only that, but it's going to also increase your aiming time by 4%. So it just helps out so much to be able to burst fire those clips and make sure you fully clip someone in 10 seconds and then escape. That extra 2 seconds reload, right, which is what it's going to give you, it'll go down from 34 to 32. It's not worth it. It's not worth that to have more bloom after firing. Now for number 8, I prefer to go with the left-hand side to give myself more reverse speed, because at least in that way, I can then do my clip, reverse out of there a lot quicker. And sometimes, if you've chosen the minus 3% to hit points, or the plus 3% to hit points, you will lose those plus 3% because you didn't get out of there fast enough. In my opinion, it's not really worth it to go with the extra hit points because it gives you an extra 120, I believe. Yeah, an extra 120, but they're just not worth it. Not worth the extra bit of mobility to get out of the danger once you do your clip. Either way, we're going to go and play in 2 games, and we'll see what this thing's like. Well, our first game, ironically, is on Paris in the Foch B. Ah, yes, oui, baguette. We go... It is time to go to the left-hand side and find out what tier 8s we're going to be facing over here. Because that is apparently a very, very good and balanced thing to do in this game. Matching tier 10s against tier 8s. Yes, well done, Wargaming. You know, +1, -1 matchmaking wouldn't hurt, would it? But, oh. And now we wait to see who our first victim is. Oh, Mr. Rhino, are you... Oh, hello. Very nice. Nice, easy 800 damage there. Missed a shot on the Centurion, though. We were waiting for quite a while. Oh. I cannot even spot that Rhino. Okay, you know what? We're going to go for a reload, and we're going to load APCR now. Let us now start to push forwards. Get some damage done that way. We know that there's a Rhino, obviously. We have 8 seconds. And this guy is going to pop up here. One shot into his tracks. Okay. Go for his cupola. I mean, it's not really going to matter, but... There we go. Very, very nice indeed. We love the very balanced ammo rack. I mean, I did track him again. So, let's now see what we can do. I'm going to go over to the left here. Because I don't really want to be fighting people head on that way. So, we'll go around to the left. And we'll see what we can do here. As you can see, it's more than fast enough to get around the map. Nice. That's actually really, really good for us that he died. It means that we can get here, now undetected, and get ready to shoot anyone that goes there. Very nice. We even got the tracking. I'm not going to reload this. I'm just going to go straight and just see if we can get the remaining 3 shots out. T30 is going to be a little bit of a problem for me. So we're just going to make sure that we get our clip in. That's what we'll do. There we go. 1, 2. I'm not going to use the 3rd. Because what I would like to get is a full shot of damage on my last shell. Let's see if we can hit this gorilla. There we go. Very, very good. 5.5k, 1.2k assistance. Very, very good game. And obviously, it being against tier 8s, it's going to only be a 2nd class, but we can apply it. How much did we get? Yeah, only 1k, but that was a decent enough game to start things off with. Let's go and play another one. Obviously, that would have been only about 4k if we didn't get the ammo rack, but we would have also perma-tracked that guy, so we would have got the assistance either way. Okay, so for our next game, we're on Murovanka. Now, we're going to play this more passively, because in this type of map, going in aggressively, I mean, in the last game we waited, we made sure that we only pushed when the opportunity presented itself to us, rather than just full, like, ooga booga mode, like, YOLOing in, which you should never do in a Foch B, because yes, you may get your clip out, but I can almost guarantee you will die afterwards, and that is not worth it. So, playing a little bit more passively, unlike the Progetto 65, who is fast discovering that he is not invincible. Managed to get 2 free shots into that, though. That is very, very good. And we won't go for the reload. We're just going to wait. We're going to see what happens. There is no light tanks in this game. I actually got a spotting on that, and I do not want to go up because that means that I probably got spotted, as we did. And you know what? We'll now go for the reload while we wait. Yes, it is a long reload, I know. But the problem is that there is only one tank that is kind of spotting stuff, so we're probably going to be able to get the reload in anyway. Okay, now we're loaded. We've got to a little bit of a better position to deal with tanks. And do I have shots on this guy? No shots so far. I can maybe get a shot if this guy goes up far enough, but yeah, this is going to be a dodgy shot to hit. We're going to intuition out to APCR. APCR is a must here. We're against heavies. Also, that I got spotted, and I don't know how I got spotted. Because I'm pretty sure these two can't see me. So I mean, maybe it was over to the right-hand side, but... Tree fell over that way. I'm going to ping it just so my team knows. I'm actually going to fall back here. Because I do not think this is worth it. We're minus 5.6k in HP, which is not good for us. Like, not good at all. Going to make sure that we go all the way to the back of the map to give us the best chance for surviving without getting spotted. Not even going to matter. Okay, well, I can't escape. Yeah, this is a lost game. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do with this. It is just impossible. I mean, I'm just trying to think of what we could have done differently. There's literally nothing we could have done differently. We just needed our team to actually come and play over this side. We had too many heavies over the other side of the map. And they still didn't win it. Because it's nearly impossible to win, like, this side of the map if there's TDs camping at the back. When they play properly. We really needed our chief, or 279, to come over this side. But there you go. That is the Foch B. I think that describes the Foch B completely perfectly. You'll have one great game, followed by one absolutely useless game. You'll have one game where your tank will hit absolutely everything, and another one where your tank will do nothing. Like, your gun will just not work. So yes, the Foch B is either 100% or 0%. There's no, like, in between. I mean, we came 6th on damage. We done 2 shots. So that is the Foch B. Should you grind it? I mean, that's down to you. Hopefully this video gave you some more information on it. If this was a tank that you would like to pick up or go down. And yeah, see you in the next one.